Once again, a senseless act of violence has taken place in a house of worship as a gunman killed 50 in New Zealand on March 18th. In the wake of this and other recent news events, it has become increasingly important for churches and other houses of worship to address safety and security. Steve KILTONIC was in Northampton recently for a training program held to help make our faith communities safer.
On March 15th, a lone gunman walked into two mosques in Christchurch, New Zealand, killing 50 people as they worshiped. This tragedy is the latest in a growing list of houses of worship across the world which have been targets of gun violence. Congregations of all faiths have been victimized. In 2018, 11 are killed at the Tree of Life Synagogue in Pittsburgh. 2017, at the First Baptist Church in Sutherland Springs, Texas, 26 are murdered, including an unborn child. That same year, 17 are killed at the Islamic Center in Quebec City, Canada. 2015, 9 worshipers who gathered for prayer and Bible study are gunned down at the historic Emmanuel African Methodist Episcopal Church in Charleston, South Carolina. 2012, Milwaukee, 6 worshipers at the Sikh temple are killed before Sunday services. These horrific crimes get the attention of a world audience and begs the question, how can these violent attacks in houses of worship, which the FBI calls soft targets, be prevented? An active shooter event was one of the topics of discussion at a one-day workshop on safety and security held March 5th at the Northampton Senior Center. More than 100 people from faith-based communities and law enforcement across Western Massachusetts gathered for the comprehensive training called Protecting Your House of Worship with Compassion and Common Sense. Clergy and staff from Catholic churches, synagogues, mosques, meeting houses, and other faith groups attended. It was sponsored by the Northampton Police Department and the Northwestern District Attorney's Office, headed by David Sullivan. The DA's Lori Wassell said the Northampton PD reached out to them because a number of faith-based organizations were looking for assistance on how to make their communities safer.
Faith communities, by their very nature, are kind of trusting, and so it's sort of a bit of a culture change that they have to think about how to secure their institutions.
Thomas Gillen of Training Force USA conducted the training. Gillen worked 20 years in the Orlando Diocese developing security plans for parishes. After the Emmanuel AME shootings, he was contacted by the Charleston County Sheriff to educate people on safety and security issues. Since then, he's crisscrossed the country, educating faith groups and law enforcement personnel.
I can't tell you how many pastors I run into and say, we don't need anything like this because we've got God, and God's going to keep us protected. God will keep you protected, there's no doubt about it, but Scripture tells us that Nehemiah posted a guard, and he stood guard, because there will always be something happening around you. And that's where we talk about situational awareness.
Gillen's training addresses a comprehensive list of safety issues.
We look at the big picture. We look at the active shooter, but the chances of that happening, according to law enforcement, very slim. But we look at some other things like burglary, robbery, sexual assault, sexual abuse, those type of issues, to make people understand that there's a lot more to keeping your place of worship safe and secure.
Gillen also talked about de-escalating situations involving the mentally ill and how to handle heart attacks, diabetic comas, or those who become disruptive during a service.
And I give them the information, some tools, some skills, things that they can actually take back and start using immediately.
Gillen hopes people come away from the workshop with a more proactive attitude towards safety and the beginnings of their own action plan for their parish. Rob Jolly is from St. Elizabeth Ann Seton Parish.
We've had a few break-ins in the back where they've damaged the tabernacle, they've damaged the sacristy. So we're looking for target hardening to keep them out of the church. We've got to become rather proactive about protecting the church and its congregation and the parish and the parishioners. You know, we just can't sit back anymore and think it's not going to happen here. It could.
Jim Senny traveled from Our Lady of the Hills Parish with another member of the parish council.
The number one thing when you watch the news and these horrible events happen is that's the theme that's often repeated when people are interviewed. We never thought it would happen here, and the reality is it does. You're very vulnerable. By the very nature of our work, which is evangelization and outreach, our doors are open.
Senny learned that it's often the simple things that are overlooked.
So what strikes me most is the little things that we could do. Making sure a door is locked, looking at exterior lighting. If you have exterior lighting, Are all the bulbs working? And also we're learning to work with the community, not only with local first responders, with the police, but also just people in the neighborhood, whether they're worshipers at our church or not, to help keep the community safe.
Deb Bryan-Sesko was with a group from Sacred Heart Parish.
We're very proactive, and I mean that by we've already got cameras in place. We have a security system in our parish center as well as our church now. And then we formed this ministry for security. Once you get a floor plan, you get to build on it, and we're looking to see what tools we gain from today, where we go next to build off of what we have already.
Based on what she heard, Bryan-Sesko believes her parish's plan is a good first step.
And as a nurse, I know what it's like on that other side of the fence too when disaster strikes. It's ugly. And you don't want to see that happen, so you want to do as much as you can to prevent those incidences from happening.
All attendees received a packet filled with information and resources, including sample safety and security policies and procedures. Every attendee also left with a certificate. For Real to Real, I'm Steve KILTONIC.